Hello, you're watching Denise Smith. I am your host, and if you have the deep determination to succeed, you will not fail. So continue to watch us today because we're talking about property resources, creative inspiration. There's a whole lot of things that we could talk about, but this I want to talk about because a lot of people are trying to purchase real estate, and we have to have not only property resources, but we have to have creative inspiration. So please watch me today because I'm going to talk about different ways that you can purchase real estate and maybe give you ideas of when you decide you would like to purchase real estate. What are your resources? Think about that. Creative inspiration. The resources that we have that are available to you is that when you decide you want to buy a house, I always recommend that you go to the house all different times of the day. Go at 6 in the morning, 8 at night, noon in the afternoon, 12 midnight. Go at all the different times. Know what resources are available to you and around you when you're purchasing real estate. Also, you want to make sure that when you're purchasing real estate, you know the neighbors. Knock on the door and tell them you wish to buy the property next door and just talk to them. They might talk to you, they may not. They might be friendly, they might not. So sometimes you just want to make sure that if they are people that you decide that they're friendly, that's wonderful. But if they're not, maybe you might want to consider living there. Maybe you don't want to live there. Also, you would like, and I would like you to look at the crime report. Now, when you look in the crime report, crime is very, very high right now. And I think it has to do with the economy. So everywhere you look, the crime report is going to be pretty bad. But if you don't see the crime report, you will never know what's going on in your neighborhood. Right now, sometimes they have break-ins, they have car break-ins, carjacking. They have a lot of different things that go on. And I think when you actually obtain a crime report, you'll be able to see exactly what it is for you in that area. You may not want to buy in that area once you see the crime report. Also, you want to look at the schools. Look at the schools. Look at the actual data for the schools. Look at the surveys for the schools, exactly what grade averages they have, how many kids actually graduate, and what is the number and percentage that actually attend college from the school. They have the history, they have the numbers, and they also can give you this information. If you call the schools, you could ask them yourselves. Find out what schools are near your location that you're interested in purchasing. Once you know the schools, you could decide if you're going to put your child in a private school or a public school. But it's very important that you know what resources are around you. Also, you want to make sure of fire departments. You want to know about police departments. You want to know how close they are to where you're wanting to purchase. If you do not know where the closest hydrant or the fire department or the police department is, I don't think it's going to do you a good service in purchasing your property. Know that you have resources that are available. If you do not have resources available, then you might find that might not be the property for you to purchase. If you are interested in purchasing real estate today and you decide that you're looking around and you see different types of property, but you really don't know the neighborhood, look in the local papers. You see, you can look on the internet and everyone Googles and looks all over for different things that are available. But I always think that it's important that you also look at the local papers in your area. The local papers will tell you different things that are going on in the locally, because when you speak about different things going on, when you hear it on the news, a lot of times it doesn't even affect your neighborhood. It only affects the national. So therefore, this brings me to the next resource that you should check. You should check the fact if there's any homelessness going on in your neighborhood. Right now, we have a national homeless situation. And I think that you should know that if whether or not you have homelessness in your area, if you have a situation where people hang out on the corners, if they're hanging out in front of your house, if they're hanging out a block away, drive around and know the resources in your neighborhood. You know, every different block is different. Every different neighborhood is different. So when you're looking around from block to block, you can see exactly whether or not it's a good block for you to purchase. Sometimes you might go just 3 blocks away and you might be in a totally different neighborhood that may not be as nice as the neighborhood you live in. Therefore, I always recommend to drive around the neighborhoods that you're interested in so that you can get to know who's in your neighborhood. We've talked about knocking on doors, finding out who lives in the neighborhood, but also you want to find out are there any senior centers in the neighborhood? Are there stores? Are there places for you to shop? Sometimes when you're having to drive 30 minutes away just to get a loaf of bread, that might be something that might not be good for you. You see, if you don't have a car, you're the one that needs to find out where the buses are. If you don't have a close bus stop in your neighborhood, then you may not even be able to get to the store. So know where the stores are located, and please find out where the bus stops are. This is very important because sometimes you will find yourself purchasing property because it's a wonderful, great buy, and then you find that you don't have the resources that you need to sustain your living. So be very careful when you're thinking of purchasing real estate. Find out your resources that are available to you. We've had so many people to purchase real estate, but what I'm finding now is that when people don't know their resources, they end up selling a lot faster than they would have done if they would have known their resources. Sometimes people live there. It's usually an average of 7 years that people purchase and hold on to their properties before they sell them. But sometimes if you did not find out your resources and you do not know what your resources are and what's available to you, then a year later or 2 years later, you then decide you want to sell the property. If you decide you want to sell your property in a year or 2 years, there's a possibility that you might lose money by selling that property because of the fact that you didn't hold on to the property long enough. And when you don't hold on to the property long enough, you do not give yourself a chance for equity to build so that you can also purchase and then realize a profit when you sell. If you sell less than a year, it's a 99.9% chance that you're going to lose because you're not going to build equity over a year, and you paying mortgage payments are not going to reduce the balance enough to where you can realize a profit. So finding out your resources will make you more prepared in purchasing real estate. We've had so many people again that have looked into real estate, and it seems like sometimes it's a pipe dream, sometimes it's a dream, a pie in the sky. But I believe that I've helped so many people to purchase real estate, hundreds and hundreds. I've helped myself to purchase real estate, and if I can do it, and if they can do it, then you can do it. So think about what is it going to take you to purchase real estate? Find out your resources. Now, we talked about the different area and the location and what you should find out about before you purchase. But also, if you feel you're not ready to purchase right now, then let's look at different options for you. Let's pool our resources together with someone that you know, a good friend, a family member, maybe a person that you've known a long time, but you've decided that maybe you can now pool your resources together. But it's important that you have a meeting of the minds. They need to have this want and need the same thing, something like you want. You see, because if you're going in 2 different ways, it's a marriage that will end up in a divorce because you're going 2 different ways. Your needs and wants are different than your partner's needs and wants. So you need to interview and talk to the person and really have a heart-to-heart talk with them to find out what are the resources that they need in order to purchase real estate. If you want to purchase real estate, then you need to put together your budget for yourself. This is very important. A budget will create enough for you to decide how much money goes out, how much money is coming in. Find out what your basic needs consist of so that when you decide you want to purchase real estate, you've adjusted all your needs. You know whether or not you can fix a lunch rather than going out to lunch for the day, which will save you a lot of money. Whether or not you want to prepare dinner or go out to dinner. Going out to dinner is kind of expensive. But if you want to save money and prepare yourself to purchase real estate, then you're going to really have to combine your resources, maybe with someone else also. That will help you to purchase real estate. I truly believe that real estate will secure your financial futures. So if any of you today are watching and you're thinking that real estate may never be for you, then you might want to think about it again. And you might want to take out the local paper and look at what's available in different neighborhoods, and just look at the neighborhoods and see what the prices are. The Chief Economic Officer with the National Association of Realtors has indicated that the median price range in the Bay Area is $500,000. What does that mean in a mortgage payment? That means about $2,700 in a mortgage payment, $2,700. That's the average price property of $500,000 in the Bay Area. What is so frustrating for me is that the people that live in the Bay Area can't buy in the Bay Area. And why can't they buy in the Bay Area? The reason why they cannot buy is because of the fact that the average income in the Bay Area is $47,000. What does that equate to as to what you can qualify for a house? I'm going to try to break it down. That would equate to $1,500 a month in a mortgage payment. $1,500 in a mortgage payment. But the median house prices for the Bay Area is $500,000. What does that tell you? That tells you that you might have a hard time purchasing in the Bay Area. I really do not wish for you to move far out. A lot of people find that they have to move hours and hours away from their job in order to purchase real estate. I would highly recommend that if you feel you cannot purchase real estate today, then talk to your family members. Investigate from your family members. You know, there's somebody today that you know. Think about it. There's somebody today that you know will actually want a roommate. Someone that's living in their house right now that cannot afford to live there. There are 1 million foreclosures right now. And over the last few years, it's been amazing to see all the foreclosures that are on the market. There's so many people losing their houses. So find out from a family member, a friend, a neighbor. If you look at them and you say, maybe you can't afford the house, maybe we can have a roommate. Maybe you can maybe pay so much more mortgage money, pay so much towards the mortgage, and maybe you can combine your efforts so that you can actually purchase that real estate with them. And they will probably be very happy to hear that you want to do that, because that will help them to be able to pay their mortgage. To be able to pay their mortgage sometimes, I found that there are loans out there which we call, it has negative amortization. What is negative amortization? Negative amortization is when an adjustable rate mortgage actually creates where you borrow $100,000 and when you go to pay it back, it's $150,000. How did that happen? Well, a couple of things. They give you a payment option, and they might give you 1, 2, or 3 payment options. If you choose the lower payment option, then that might be a situation where you're only paying a percentage of the principal, a percentage of the interest. So what does that mean? That means that if you're not paying but a portion of the interest and a portion of the principal, then guess what? The rest of it will be applied to your principal balance. So when this happened, and a whole lot of people received adjustable rate mortgages, that's why they were in foreclosure. Because you see, the mortgages kept going up and they kept choosing that lower payment, which caused them negative amortization. And so what does that mean? That means that once their payments start adjusting, they can no longer afford that house. They were able to afford it with the lower payment, but they're no longer able to afford it with the higher payment. And that really concerns me for a lot of people. That actually breaks my heart because, I sold hundreds and hundreds of houses. And a lot of people in the economy right now have lost their jobs or that had serious situations. They've gone through divorces. They've had car accidents, things that they did not feel was going to take place, just unexpected disasters. And when those happen, they weren't able to pay their mortgage any longer. And when they're not able to pay their mortgage, what happens? The bank forecloses. And when the bank forecloses, they take your property because you can't pay your mortgage. And to me, that is so sad. So I don't even like to talk about the F word. But what we do like to do is encourage you to purchase real estate within your means. Make sure that you look at all your financing options. Don't just purchase property and at any loan that's given to you, you think just because you got a loan that you're ready to buy. No, you want to make sure that that loan, look and confirm whether it's a fixed rate. What is the amortization? Is it 15 years? Is it 30 years? Is it a 40-year loan? Generally, the longer the loan, the less the payment. So if you're deciding today that you're trying to purchase real estate and you just want to know, really, where do I begin? I would highly recommend you to go to open houses and just look. Just look. Just find out, and you just let them know, I'm just looking. The real estate agent might ask you a lot of questions. They might ask you, how long have you been looking, and what type of property that you're looking for. You might just be on a fact-finding mission. So what you want to do is you just tell them that you have an agent. And if you'd like to call me, I'll be happy to be your agent. But if you let them know that you have an agent, then they'll let you look over freely and they won't ask you a bunch of questions. But at least you can actually look at the different properties so you can see what's available in the price range, the area, the location, even if you don't have any money. I still recommend you to look, seek, find, research. Don't be discouraged that when people say the median price range is $500,000. Do not be discouraged because there's too many resources and too many options out there for you that you're able to really purchase real estate. And if you combine your resources with other people, you will find that you will be able to purchase real estate. It's all in time. Might not happen now in 6 months or 3 months, but it might happen in 12 months. It might happen in 24 months. But prepare yourself because you have to put yourself in the mindset. I don't think negative on anything. I think positive on everything. I believe the art of positive thinking is something that you got to do. You got to think positive for your life. There's a whole lot of negative people in the world, and they always want to spew that negativity on you. But I don't let that happen. If they spew negativity on me, then I change it to a positive. Because I believe what a man thinketh, a man is. What a woman thinketh, a woman is. I believe that. And the reason why I believe that is because I've lived it. Now, in order for me to acquire, I'm an investor, and for me to acquire so many properties, I wasn't able to do that being very scared and nervous and listening to all the naysayers and listening to the negative people. The only way that I was able to purchase real estate and buy as many properties as I have been able to is because of the fact that every time somebody said, no, don't do it, that meant yes to do it. If they say that you're not ready, if they say, because the bank will maybe deny you. You see, because the bank will deny you at least a couple times before you get an approval. So even the bank can be negative at times. But what you do is you can call me. I'll give you other resources that are available. There's a lot of different banks that you could choose. You don't have to choose just one. If you get denied, don't be discouraged. That just means that the next one might say yes. So in my business, in the real estate business, I was taught that you have 100 no's before you get that one yes. And that really has been true. When you're purchasing real estate, that's the way it works. 100 no's before you get, yes, I will buy. That's okay, because people need to know what they're buying. They need to check out the neighborhood, look at the resources, find out what your budget is, make sure. You see,